Hi, I'm Jason. This is a regular magazine, and in today's video I'm going to look at some of the purchases I made from Temu for my as part of my terrain challenge that I'm currently doing at the moment. So I've seen a lot of videos online about getting terrain off and bits and pieces, hobby related pieces from Temu. So I decided to have a look and see if there was anything on there I could pick up for my terrain challenge to get some final bits and pieces that I need for the different periods and different scales that I am currently working on projects for. So I decided to go on Temu. I didn't spend a huge amount. I spent about 50 quid, I think it was, in 2 different orders. And this is what I got. So, yeah, you can see part of it. Now, I assumed when it said tablecloth, I thought it was going to be a dry wipe or something slightly thicker. What this is that sort of thin polyester material, probably similar to the sort of material that was used for the cheap flags that everyone's chucking up all over the UK at the moment. Now, it was only a £5, but this is mainly my fault, as in I didn't double check the listing to see what the material was made out of, and I just saw the image and went with that. Now, it's perfectly fine for me for what I want, and I'm not going to use it very often. It was just so I could have one that was a beach scene, so I could do some mat for cruel seas, pillage, stuff like that for beach assaults. Would I purchase it again? No, now that I have it here, I wouldn't purchase one of these again. I think I was just a bit naive in thinking that when it said tablecloth, it was going to be one of those, and with an image like this on it, that it was going to be a dry wipe style that you can get, which would have meant it would have been more like a vinyl, and it would have been slightly thicker and a bit better. What it is just a piece of polyester, and like I said, I didn't check the listing, and it's kind of a bit my own fault that I ended up purchasing what is essentially the same sort of material that is one of those cheap flags are made out of. I can still make use of it. It's not a massive issue. Like I said, I can still make use of this. It will pack flat. I'll have to iron out some of these creases that we can see here because it was folded. But other than that, it's not bad. It's quite a nice print on it. It's just I should have double checked the listing before I purchased it. Now, I bought a number of MDF buildings. I got a fantasy one, 2 lots of Western, and then some ruins. Now, in one of the review, it said the ruins are suitable for 28mm. The Western is really more 15mm. And so I've got a general stores here, as we can see from the picture. I can show you the other 2 ones because I've built them already. So the other Western I've got was a saloon. I've not finished building it yet. It's roughly 15mm scale. I'll get some other images in a bit. So you have the roof, you have the upper part and the lower part. I've still got some bits and pieces to build. I've got all the windows to do on the outside, to add, and then there are actually some tables and chairs that will to build to go inside. Whether I'll do that or not, I don't know. But I mainly picked them up because I'm doing ACW in 15mm, and I just wanted some additional cheap Western buildings to add onto the tabletop. So I could, with the stuff I've already got and the pieces I picked up here from here, I can do the sort of outskirts of a small town on the tabletop. The other item I picked up was a fantasy-esque building, which is quite large. It's so it comes in two parts. You've got a building like this, and then you have a windmill that sits on top. So I'll get some other pictures of that in a bit. But they were pretty easy to build, quite straightforward. And the quality is not bad, to be honest, considering I think each of these were no more than £6, each of the buildings. So overall, it's pretty good. I mean, this one is more 10 to 15 mil, and I shall probably use it for both those scales as a sort of centerpiece item when I'm playing those scales. So like I said, the MDF kits are actually not bad. They're quite reasonable. They're quite well made. They're quite a reasonable price. Now, the other thing I picked up was tufts. So the tufts were less than what they are in the UK. So this one here was the same amount as both of these together. So I just open these up. So you can see there's a bit of colour to them. They're not bad. I think there's quite a few pieces on each of those. And again, I just undo this one. Got the same sort of tuft, but slightly darker. And then so quality wise, they're about the same as they are in the UK, but obviously price wise, they're a lot cheaper. I think that one was about £2. These were about £2.50 for the two. So overall, I think less than £5 for all of them, for all three. So that was not bad. Now, the other thing I picked up were some food dogs. Now, I'm doing some Asian stuff, and I thought about getting some food dogs. So we've got the male and the female. So the female is the one with the foot on the child, and the male is the one with the foot on the ball. They always come in pairs traditionally in Asia. So I thought I'd pick up a set. They work quite well. They're fine as in for 28mm. They're just like a sort of reasonable size. And then if I go to 15, obviously they're like a lot bigger. So they're one of those items that will work across quite a few different scales. And if I try and find a 10mm, here we go. I've got a 10mm figure here. So at 10mm, they're quite large pieces of terrain. These were quite good. They're a solid resin, and they were about £3. I think they're resin. They kind of feel odd. They don't feel like resin, but I think they're resin. They could be. It could be a stone. No, it's an odd. They're quite heavy for resin. They're quite solid pieces. So I'm not sure if it's resin or it's another material, cast material. It's certainly not plastic, it's too heavy for that. It feels, texture-wise and feel, it feels cold like a stone, like a stone type material. But I assume it's resin. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. But they are good quality, they're nice sculpts, a lot of detail on them. And they were, again, a couple of pounds for those two. Like I said, the t-shirt is Jared's around the TARDIS. It's £3. It's not cotton. It's like I said, the material is like a running vest, type, the sort of stuff that's used in running clothing. So it's quite light. £3, it's not bad. And I picked up the hat as well for £3. I'll take that. And so the quality is pretty good. Quite surprised at that quality. I thought it was going to be a bit naff, but the quality is quite good. It's cheap. It's cheap baseball cap with the Blood Angels on there. And then they did a whole range. Did all of the 40k stuff. So I just thought I'd pick that up when I'm doing videos. So overall, I'm quite pleased with what I bought. I'm quite surprised. Get that out of the way. Quite surprised at how reasonable priced it was. The quality is pretty good. The disappointment was with the mat tablecloth. I assumed it was going to be white vinyl type. I probably should have checked before buying it. I can still make use of it. But yeah, if you're on Temu and you're looking at some of these tablecloths, because there's quite a few of them, they've got like images or patterns on them, or layouts on them that look like they're gaming mats. They're going to be flimsy polyester material, most likely. So just be aware of that. They're still usable. They'll need a bit of ironing before I use it because of the way it was folded. But yeah, I can, it's got that beach and then the sea, so there's a good amount of beach there. What my plan was to do was to build some using foam and stuff like that, to build some sort of sand dune sort of inland bit to place over that area, so that I can use it for beach assaults, for flames of war, maybe pillage, Vikings raiding a village. So it's not one of those gaming mat that would be used on a regular basis. It's something that would get used occasionally. So I'm not too fussed that it's the material that it is, because I can, for me, I can make use of it, and once the train's down on it, it won't feel that flimsy out. But anyone else looking at them, just be aware they are polyester sheets, in the same way that those flags that are being people are buying and putting up everywhere, it'll be like that. It's thin like that. It's thin, the polyester with the image on it. So you just need to be aware of that. The other thing you need to be aware is scale as well. Some items you don't say what the scale is. Now, if it's printed scenery, most of that is 28mm. If it's MDF, you need to look at the sizing quite carefully, because it won't say this is 20mm, it won't, or it's 28mm. It will just give you sizes in centimeters and stuff like that. Now, occasionally some MDF will be described as 1/7 scale, but beyond that, there are no scaling on there. But there will be images that show you the size, and you then have to try and kind of work out the scale based on the sizing they've given for the actual item. Other than that, I've been quite impressed with what I picked up. The quality's been pretty good. I haven't been that disappointed with anything really. The food dogs are really nice. Those were, for the price, those were really nice. And they're quite a good scale. That they look fine for 28mm. They look like a normal sort of thing that would maybe placed outside of a posh sort of rich person's house. And then when you go down the scales to 15, 10mm, they look like the type that are big statement pieces that are in like things like palaces and government type sort of buildings and things like that. So yeah, they worked out really well, and for a couple of quid they were a bargain. Now the MDF, my only thing about some of the one of the MDF kits is some of the thing is it's a bit, some of the elements are a bit chunky. So they're like these, they're a bit chunky, the joints, the connectors and stuff like that. Otherwise they're quite fine. It's not on every kit, because on the Western kits this not, you can't see any of that sort of stuff. It all depends on the type of kit, and like I said, it's a bit, you've got the sort of big elements here where the connecting points, if you can live with that, then it's fine. I think that whole piece, this here, was about £4 something. It was less than a fiver. Over 15 and 10mm scale, it's quite a big centerpiece item, and you don't have to put them together. You could use it as two separate if you wanted to. So it works out quite good. Anyway, that's pretty much everything. You just have to be aware when you're looking at listings and stuff like when you're on Temu, is to double check the listings and make sure you are aware of what the material is. Don't make the mistake like I did with the sheet, thinking it was, just assuming it was going to be like a vinyl dry wipe. I should have double checked. My fault. But other than that, I've been quite happy with that. It's a good price. It arrived fairly quick. Surprising how quick it got here. Overall, the quality is pretty good. And if you're looking for cheap terrain to chuck down on a tabletop, then you can't go wrong. It's pretty bog standard stuff for a lot less pennies than if you're buying it in the UK. But see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.